was riddled by the dark agenda, and they slowly took all of our freedoms away from us, little by little, until now we have hardly any freedom. And yet we think we're a free country, and we're not.
Right. One quick question. What is this eye print for ID? Is it a chip or?
Oh God, no. You're not going to be chipped. Get that out of your mind. No, they're not going to chip you at all. Okay. And I don't feel comfortable with that. That is what I was told several years ago by somebody that I don't feel is a good source anymore. They took a lot of license with information they gave me. And after the gentleman that was with our phone call for 3 months last year, who is a true white knight, he's done a master's work in getting NESARA prepared to be announced. And she's of the same group, but he tells me, he says, boy, I don't know where she's coming up with that stuff, And he says, that's not what I know. So I have to share with you that came from a source that I'm not so sure about. I do not know. Our Social Security numbers are going away. We're not going to have to deal with that. And I do believe that we will have passports of some kind or another, but how they're going to work that, I don't know. There's an awful lot I take on faith because I know the people that are involved, and I know that God is sanctioning this. And so I don't ask a lot of questions about details because I know that it's all going to work out okay. There very well may be things that we'll have to do in our own communities or counties, if you will. And I, for one, I just want to walk away and do my project that God has laid on my heart. I don't want to be involved in the new government. I've been doing this. I'm 71. I've been working for justice since I was a young woman with toddlers in my early 20s. I'm tired.
This sounds a bit like the biblical year of Jubilee, where all debts are forgiven.
Yes.
Okay. I got one of your, but this is all new to me. I just happened to see this on a site quickly, and I thought, well, that sounds interesting because I know nothing of NESARA. I've never heard of it.
Where did you see it, honey?
I was scanning through some sites, some Dinar sites, and I quick cut and pasted it because I thought, well, that's interesting. I thought it was a call about Dinar. I thought it was going to be an update call. And let me see, I cut and pasted, and someone posted it in a room, and I don't know which chat room.
What about this call tonight?
Yes.
Really?
I threw it into PTR.
Okay, because I was scanning through a bunch of them, and I thought, oh, it says come and join the neighborhood. I didn't know what it was. It says learn about NESARA. So I thought, wonder what that is. So thank you for being so kind. Like I said, it's a bit of a mind blower. I know nothing about NESARA, and I'm curious what these prosperity programs are. Who gets the prosperity programs? Countries, people, races, Is there a way to find out?
Let me see if I can help you on that one, honey. Give me some license here because you've covered a broad spectrum.
And thank you for
You're very welcome.
Very good.
I'll do my best. Lynn, did you need to say something, honey?
No, not at all.
Okay, honey. Okay, what are the prosperity programs and who gets them? There is a myriad of prosperity programs, and I'm going to name a few, okay? This has nothing to do with the enormity of the prosperity programs. There are lots of them I don't even know the names of. Mm-hmm. As far as I know, all the prosperity programs have been closed for a few years, okay? I got into one of the big ones back in 98, and I've been involved heavily in this whole thing since then in particular, but I've been working for justice in the context of our corrupt government back in the 60s, and of course my mother had been doing it since back in the 40s, so I was privy to what she was doing for the most part. So just to answer your question, as far as I know, there's no prosperity programs that you can join right now. And I understand there's probably something like 86 or 87 or 88 programs that are going to pay out. I'm going to name a few that I know of. The Farm Claims is one big one. Omega is one big one. Then there's Jewel Robbins and Dotson and, oh gosh, my mind just went blank. Alpha and Destiny. Anyway, there's all kinds of names of these programs. Whether you're in one or not, I don't know. When I got into the program that I got into, I didn't know that I was being chosen by God to be involved in this. Everybody didn't. And we all got into it. It was $100 for a share of this program, and it was supposed to pay out like $7,500 for $100. So I turned it down twice, and then I got a call from a gentleman in Rhode Island that used to be I don't know if any of you know who Van Cliburn, the pianist, is, but he was his business manager for like 20 years. He's internationally known as a fabulous pianist, classical, if you will. And I was friends with his former business manager, and he told me, he says, Carol, I don't care how you get the $100. He says, you get that $100 and you get into it. And after I turned it down twice, and he told me this, I thought, well, okay, I'll scrape it together somehow. So I did. And then over the years, I'm finding out, hey, this was a true gift from God, and somehow I was made aware enough to do it. So none of us really knew what we were getting into. So there's that sector of the prosperity programs. There is the Saint Germain Trust. I don't know if you've ever heard of Saint Germain, but he is
in passing.
You familiar with him?
No, I've just heard a little in passing, and I don't know what that is.
Okay, about 250 years ago in Europe, Saint Germain knew what was coming down in the future, and he put a tremendous amount of money into the world trades to help humanity when this finally gets done. And now we're seeing the possibility of it getting done pretty quick, we hope. We thought it would be done in 2011 for sure, every year we keep thinking, oh, God, the people can't hang on. They're hanging on by their toenails and fingernails now, and some of them are dropping off, and we'll never see them again, So it's been quite a ride. Let me just say that. Now, there are countries. The countries will be gifted in a big way. They will be re-moneyed, if you will. And a lot of us that are in the programs that get this beautiful prosperity, we will be drawn by spirit or whatever, your heart space, God, however you want to name it. We'll be drawn to those things that we want to dedicate to humanity, to help humanity, if you will. Oh,
right. Okay, kind of like with this Dinar when it comes through.
Dinar is one little piece of the, it's a, NESARA came first, okay? It's huge. And NESARA is just one of the little fractals, if you will, of the whole picture. And it has, I think the powers that be, and I'm talking about spiritual powers, God, if you will, has allowed this to happen, but will draw more people's attention to this whole scenario and educate people and also help them out financially. I think that the money of this whole thing, well, here again, I'm getting into a territory that's going to confuse people, and I get confused on it sometimes too. But we're looking at a whole picture, and we're looking at a small picture, okay?
Right.
We've got the whole picture on the screen, but then we take and we sector out, how they do a divided screen on TV, sometimes on sports programs. They'll have the whole thing happening on the screen, but then they take a little square out and they'll show a particular incident.
Yes.
I think that's what we're looking at here. The whole picture is the NESARA movement, where all these different countries are going to become sovereign with their own currency, just like we had planned to do. And like I said earlier, it started in America, and then other countries got wind of what we were doing, and they said, oh, we like that. Can we join you? And so it's been a very, very involved endeavor to include all these different countries. I have heard 180 countries, and I've heard that amount for years. Right now we're hearing 150 or 130 or 87 or whatever countries. So until it happens, we don't know. And there's probably going to be a lot that's going to happen that we're not ever going to even know about. So my faith in God is what gets me through. I just let it go. And whatever he reveals to me, well, I'll latch on to that. And that's what I'm sharing with you guys tonight. There's a lot of details I'm not concerned with because I think it's out of my realm, and I know it's going to be done just fine.
Mm-hmm.
And there very well may be some tail ends that need to be taken care of after the fact. That usually happens in any endeavor. Like if you start a business, you may not have all the fine details worked out until after you've gotten your business permit and gotten into business, and then you say, "Oh gosh, I didn't take care of that. I better do that right away." So there might be situations like that, but I think for the most part, the people that are involved in this whole movement are such wonderful people. They're working very hard to make it a very smooth situation for everybody, with as little consternation as possible. Take care of people. I apologize for that interruption here.
Question?
So there won't be, the way this comes about, obviously, you're going to have to deal with people who are in very powerful, whether they're police unions or people who have retirement packages from unions and all kinds of companies this is mind-boggling to me when I think about this, and that's why I'm wondering, how will the unions be dealt with, people who are in unions?
Unions are going away, honey. They served their purpose when we were having trouble with child labor laws back in the 20s and so forth.
Right.
And I can't remember how far back the unions go, but I think it was between the 20s and the 40s or whatever. And I'm pretty ignorant about that. I have to admit that. But they served their purpose at the time, and everything seems to be like a pendulum. You know, the clock, the grandfather clock that has a pendulum and it swings from one side to the other.
Yes.
However far it swings to the left, it will swing to the right that far on the other side. So things come and they go, and the unions have come and they're going to go. They have become a tool of the dark agenda. They found a way to use against the people. I started seeing this with the steel workers union, the iron workers union, the shipping unions, the grocery industry, which I was a part of back in the 60s and 70s and so forth. But I saw how the unions were using society to increase their wealth. And if you've ever known anybody that's been in a union that needed individual help, they don't get it.
Right.
The only time you hear about the unions is when they're trying to renegotiate a contract and put more money in their pocket. And they couldn't care less if you're a member of their union and you need help. They say, "Oh, we can't do anything about that."
That's right. But the union people high up are making lots of money.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Question?
So they will be going bye-bye. Now, as far as the pension funds and things like that, I told my phone family years ago, I said, if you've got a 401k or a IRA or a pension fund from your company, if you can get your hands on the money, take the hit on the penalty for taking it out, because more than likely they're going to steal it from you. Okay?
Okay.
And
thank you for that heads up. I'm not in it, but,
What?
Thank you for that heads up. I'm not in it, but I have, I know people who are.
Yeah, here's another heads up for those people that own stock in companies. Now, if you're in mutual funds, there's not too much you can do but just get out now. But if you own stock in an individual company, let's just say you own stock in ABC Corporation or company or what have you, and you don't have the stock certificates in your little fat hand, my suggestion to you is you call your broker tomorrow, possibly. And now this is a suggestion. I'm not dictating to you.
I understand.
It's for you to consider. And you tell those people at the stockbrokers that you want immediately your stock converted to street stock. Street stock is when it's put in your name and they send you the certificate so that it says that Lila Thomas owns 5 shares of ABC Company or Corporation, okay?
Okay.
Now, because if you don't do that and you have individual stock investments, the broker is